Hi, everybody. I'm Sheree from the library, and I love the month of February because it's all about the love. So I thought this month the stories that I would share with you would be stories that I love, books that I have loved for a long time. Because it's February, I always like to read a book by a president, and this is Of Thee I Sing by former President Barack Obama. And it's really a letter to his daughters where he says, I told you how wonderful you are, how smart you are, how brave you are. And then on each page, on this page, it says, if I told you that you are creative, and he talks about a famous American. This is Georgia O'Keeffe. Martin Luther King is in here, Sitting Bull, Albert Einstein, Billie Holiday. So each page talks about an amazing American, but the people come off the page onto the other page, and we see a whole lot of kids coming together. This is illustrated by Lauren Long, who also is one of my all-time favorite book illustrators. And even though you may be in an upper elementary grade or middle school or even high school, adults, don't be afraid to read a picture book now and then, because some of my favorites are picture books. This is Trombone Shorty. This is a book about a real kid who was born in Louisiana, New Orleans, and grew up listening to the music all around him and began to create his own music with his brother on a beat up old trombone that somebody gave him. He is now a very famous musician and he plays all over the world. So reading about his story gave me insight into New Orleans and music, and you can listen to him today. So that's Trombone Shorty. Finding Winnie is one of my all-time favorites, not just because it's a great book in and of itself, which it is, and it tells the story, the true story, of a soldier in World War I in Canada who buys a baby bear cub when his train stops at a station, and there's the cub with the trapper who got her mother. And this story unfolds in some pretty amazing ways. Then there's a second story, then they all come together. And if you think it has something to do with Winnie the Pooh, you are right. When you read this book, you will be amazed at all the amazing stories it connects you to. This is Robo Sauce. I have read this to some of you. It's about a kid who comes across a secret recipe to make everything it touches a robot. Now, the problem is when everything becomes a robot, the robots may take over. This book seems harmless enough, regular picture book. It does some pretty amazing things. If you've heard me read it, you know some of the transformations that happen. If you haven't, run and get it, because you will be so surprised at what happens in this book. This is What Do You Do with an Idea? And it's exactly what it says. When you have an idea, where do you go with it? What do you do with it? How do you take care of it? How do you get more ideas? How do you tell people about your idea? It has beautiful words. It has an incredible set of illustrations. There are others in the series. What do you do with a problem, etc. You will love them all. I also wanted to talk about a couple of my favorite chapter books, but first I have to talk about Her Right Foot. This book is by Dave Eggers, who is a wonderful author. He writes for kids, he writes for grown-ups. This particular book is about the Statue of Liberty from the very beginning. Where did it come from? Whose idea was it? Why did France give it to the United States? And why, oh why, when you look at the Statue of Liberty, are her feet stepping out? Her back foot is taking a step towards the water. And in the end, we find out that she is walking out to the sea to meet all the people who are coming to America. Dave Eggers is such a wonderful author. He wrote The Eyes in the Impossible. I told you about award-winning books last month. This, in fact, was chosen as the best book of last year. Dave Eggers' The Eyes in the Impossible, the story of the dog who decides to liberate the bison that run his island. It sounds like such a simple explanation, but the stuff that happens in this book is truly magical. So Dave Eggers, once again, the greatest. This is Rain, Rain. I love a dog's book so much, and it's about a little girl who has a lot of trouble in school. She doesn't have a lot of friends. She has a lot of outbursts. It's kind of rough for her at home. She lives with just her dad, and he's not a bad guy, but he's just not very good at taking care of her. So she's very lonely most of the time until one day her dad comes home with a dog he has found, and that dog becomes her very best friend. And they do everything together until one night there's a terrible storm, and Rose and her father go into the storm cellar with the dog, Rain. But in the night, while Rose is asleep, her dad lets Rain out and Rain disappears into the storm. Now, what you think has happened is not what's happened, but what's really the twist in this story will make your heart sing. The same way my heart sang when I read Wish Tree. This is by Catherine Applegate. Some of you may know that author because she wrote The One and Only Ivan and a lot of other great books. This is my favorite book that she has written, and it's all about a tree whose name is Red. Red has been in their neighborhood for a very long time and is a wish tree, which is a real thing in some cultures, where people write down their wish on a little piece of paper and tie it to the tree. And the idea is the wind will take the wish and hopefully their wish will come true. One night, a little girl comes out of her house very late and ties a note onto Red. And we find out that what that note says was, "I wish for a friend." She and her family are Muslim. They are new to the neighborhood. Not a lot of people want to be their friends. So it's the story of Red and how that little girl's wish comes true in the end. These are all some of my, oh, I almost forgot. The one thing you'd save. This is a very short read, a quick read about a classroom where the teacher says, after a classmate has experienced a fire at their house, if there is a fire in your house, what's the one thing you would save and why? And each one of the kids start to talk about what they would save. And some things are actual things, and some things are things for other people, and some things are more about memories or experiences. It's a great book to read, but it's also a great book that gets you talking to other people about what would you save and why. I love all of these books so much. They make me so happy. I'm going to have to read them all again. I hope that you come in and borrow any of these titles from the library or find the books that you really love that make your heart sing. See you later. Bye.